it recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hopefully it is. Yeah. I did the whole thing without recording. Hi everyone. So we are just going to do a little bit of like a debrief of our walk, the 2 Moors Way that we did last week. It's Saturday now, so it's been just over a week since we did that, and it was an absolutely fantastic experience. We learned some stuff along the way. We definitely made some mistakes. And Jamie, I think Jamie enjoyed a lovely Saturday without me. his first day of 5. It's like 5 days of Rob chatting, and then suddenly it's like, oh,
I think I've developed tinnitus since being around you. Like, I can just hear this ringing in my ears.
Yes. Just traumatised by it. Wake up at night, no, Rob, stop talking. But yeah, so it was an absolutely fantastic experience. And the weather has just changed completely. It was almost like that Friday was like the last day of good weather, and now it's just like autumn all of a sudden, and it's rained, it's been miserable, some of it. It's nice today, but yeah, we got so super lucky. So I think we're just going to like talk about some of the things that we learned, and one of the things for me, I think it's got to be the biggest thing, is the blister situation. I mean, I'm used to walking, and I absolutely love going on long walks, and yet on the first day, it was like within 6 miles
halfway
of
lunchtime.
our first day. Oh, I could feel these hot spots. I was like, no, it's not the best thing when you've got 120 miles still left to go. So with that being said, the shoes that I had with Salomon's, they're fine. They're absolutely great. They haven't fallen apart or anything. But I put the insoles in, as I said in one of the videos, and what did I do? I didn't wear them in, and so my feet, they started to blister, and I tried to react to it. I tried to put in some, what's it called? KT tape, because I kept calling it keto tape or Keno tape or something.
Is that the black tape?
Black tape, yeah. It's like another layer of skin. It's one side's fabric, like a big plaster, without the actual like medical dressing bit. And I was using that, and that I think saved my absolute life, saved my bacon on that, because seriously, my feet, I won't show you because it's gross. Actually, maybe I will, because it's a walking channel. So do you know what? If you don't like it, you should be walking.
If you're eating, put your food away right now.
You don't want to, but yeah, the
I don't know how you did it.
Can't see, I don't know from there, but they're like craters, and we're a week later, and they hurt more now than when we're on the walk. So using that tape absolutely helps. So, you know, for the sake of, what is it, like 100 grams, definitely take it with you and treat your blisters immediately.
And wear your soles in.
Wear your soles in.
Because I did that with those new boots. You told me to wear it, so I wore them for work, because I work outdoors, so it's a lot of walking around and stuff. And I bought the new boots, but I wore them for work that week to wear them in, and I got one tiny little blister on my little toe. But I think that's because my socks were slightly twisted that day, but yeah.
Wasn't even because of the shoes.
And you're the one that told me to wear it in, and then what do you do?
I've got to learn the hard way. This is the thing, though. I always learn the hard way.
Fair play to you. I don't know how you carried on with those blisters.
I
don't know. I was in pain watching you. It was just like, my feet were comfortable and dry and lovely, and it was just torture watching you. But yeah, well done. All the paracetamol.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to have it with you.
Oh man.
And actually, because there was that day, was it day 3 when we got to Witheridge? I was in absolute agony, and I can see in the video, just like I felt drained, every footstep hurt. And I got to Witheridge, and I actually walked around in my socks.
And you're saying it was like a massage or something?
It was like a massage. You're just like walking along, it's like, oh, it's so good. And I took my socks off, and it's like the feet were just throbbing, the veins were poking out, and it's like, oh, should not have done that. Because when you're walking, what is the one thing that is doing all of the work? It's your feet, isn't it? So like, of all the parts of you need to look after, your feet, because they're taking the brunt of everything. But yeah, that's just, you learn the hard way sometimes. So if I can recommend anything, get the right shoes, get them fitted, and make sure you wear them in.
Does your cat want to go in the kitchen?
I think the cat wants
to go. I'll let him.
Yeah, sorry. Cool. No more distractions from that thing. Cat is like devil's offspring.
Yeah, feet is number one. How many socks did you take? I took 2 pairs and a pair to sleep in.
So I took 5 pairs, one for each day, and I'm so glad I did. I double walled them actually.
Well, they were covered in blood, weren't they?
They were gross.
They were
like something from a murder scene.
I could smell like the gangrene.
Yeah. I just thought that was you. I actually washed once during that walk. I don't remember you doing any washing except for swimming in a flea-infested lake.
Yeah, that lake was it. I'll tell you what, that shirt I bought, I'll do a review on it later sometime, but that Crag Hopper shirt, it was brilliant. It still didn't smell. It was like the khaki one with the vent on the back. The armpits bits did start to whiff a bit, but the rest of it didn't smell, did it?
No, it didn't.
I mean, they're like £50, but the Crag Hopper shirts are so good at quick dry and wicking away the smell, the bacteria and everything like that. Because it was pretty gross day 5. We were like, but we went into shop. We weren't thrown out of cafes. Oh, you stink. But yeah, the Crag Hopper shirt was amazing. Absolutely. So if you really want to go lightweight and just stick to sort of like, say 2 different types. I had 2 walking shirts with me, but I was waiting until the Crag Hopper started to really stink, and then I was going to switch over to the other one. That sort of, what do you call it? What's that black one I had? I can't remember, but it's really tight sort of thing. But I didn't need it in the end. It was a bit of a gross test. I wanted to see if I could go a whole 5 days without the shirt like ringing with stink. So, yeah. And it was pretty good, but the weather was nice. But yeah, great shirt, Crag Hoppers, well worth the money. They vent really well as well, so, and they're light. So
and that's quite important because on these walks, you know, obviously you don't have access to, well, if you're going to wild camp it all the way, you don't have access to showers, and you can bring a few products along with you just to sort of help, but you don't really want to be using soapy products in like streams and stuff. You don't want to like kill because it's not good for the fish and other things that live in water. But if you're doing that, when you stop off at these cafes, I mean, personally for me, I always, before I walk in, I'm like self-conscious. I'm always thinking, oh man, look at the state of me, my hair's all up here and I look like a bum and smell bad. I can smell myself anyway. And I'm always like, oh, I don't want to walk into this lovely establishment and then they'll throw me out. But a lot of them are just used to it because they're used to like the Moors Way walkers.
Yeah.
And they don't mind, but I often just go in. I just make a thing of it straight away. I'm just like, I know I look awful, but it's because I'm going walking, and then they love it. Like some of them are just like, oh, it's fine, it's all good, and like you don't smell. You can see the sort of pain on their faces. They say, you don't smell.
Some of the old ladies were a bit ooh.
Yes.
I think that was the highlight of one of many of this trip was that it's gone dark.
Oh no! Oh, studio lighting! Oh no! What do we do? Let me get the sun reflector out.
Well, we're probably in dark now, but that was one of the highlights. Was those cafes, those little cafes in the villages. Oh man, you get a proper coffee, a homemade baguette or a sausage roll or something, or that breakfast. Those omelettes. Scrambled eggs. That was amazing. But yeah, it's just a real treat. Say you've done like 10 miles and you stop somewhere. It's just such a treat to take your bag off, charge your phone up. We took quick chargers as well, which is a little tip, which helped a lot. Is we had our power banks with us, but if you're just nice, Rob was always sort of, polite and nice with the cafe owner or whatever. And you say, oh, do you mind if we charge our phone for half an hour? And because of these quick charge phones now and the connectors you get with them, you can literally 20 minutes is enough to give you like half a charge or something. Yeah. So that's a handy little thing that I've never done before. But yeah, if you're just polite and they're like, yeah, sure, plug it in. Nobody said no, did they? So that was awesome. No, but the food, I've never appreciated food so much because your body is just screaming out for calories and that, and everything, even Snickers, and I've had withdrawals from Snickers and Coca-Cola. I've been like, should I get it? I don't need it. This channel is sponsored by Coca-Cola and Snickers. Their profit margin's gone up last week.
Right. What you're not seeing is the 58-inch plasma TV that I've got and the Jag outside.
Oh man, it's not a very healthy diet, but you burn it off quick. But the energy that if you're coming up to a hill, because I'm not as fit as Rob when it comes to hills and stuff, you get to this brutal hill, but if you've had a can of Coke or a Snickers or something, anything like that before, it gives you that couple of hours of boost.
It really does.
You learn a lot about your body. I learned a lot how I can function with and without food and all that, and yeah, it does work. So it's not a great dietary thing, but you do think, there's a really hilly bit coming up, right, I'm going to load up with sugary, carby stuff, whatever, and it does help, definitely. So
It's interesting that as well, because I remember us talking about like the sensations of the different types of food, like for example sugar.
Yeah.
Like you don't if you have a chocolate bar and it's just a Friday evening or something, you've had a busy week, you eat it and it's just a comfort food.
Yeah.
But when you've done, I think the average was about 3,500 calories a day that we were burning, and that's without the accounting for the pack. So it's probably between 4,000 and 4,500 calories a day.
Yeah.
And then you have that Snickers bar, and
you feel
sounds
it.
weird. You do. You can almost like taste the sugar granules dissolving, and like the nuts inside it. You're like, oh yes, the carbs and the fats coming off of it. Like your body knows what you want.
Do you remember Popeye? Are you too young? You know, he used to eat the spinach,
Oh, the
and you go.
spinach,
It's just like that. You just feel your body just surging with this massive surge of power, like Coca-Cola, Snickers, or whatever you've got in your bag.
And it's interesting because you like some of the sports drinks, you see them in like the shelves of supermarkets like Tesco and stuff, and they're full of sugar, they're full of carbs, like Lucozade or something like that. And you think people just drink those in the office. They're like, oh, I fancy a boost, I'll have one of those.
Yeah.
But like,
it's kind of wasted.
It is wasted, and it's not good, because when we're doing that walk, you have one of those, and it's like, wow, that sees you through the day. Just one Lucozade. Like, imagine doing that without doing any exercise.
True.
Like all of those calories just. Because you can feel them turning to energy, but if you're not actually using that energy, it just turns to fat.
So I never drink Coca-Cola ever. I've never had the urge, but there I was like, I need sugar. I need something now. Like, your body's screaming. Remember that time I really wanted salt and I got those ready salted crisps?
Yes,
it's like, you said to me, like, if you're craving something, it's usually your body. So I was like, I really fancy some chips with salt or ready salted crisps. So I must have been getting low on salt as well because we're sweating tons. But it's interesting. You learn a lot about. Because I've never done as big a walk as that, so you do learn how you sort of function and work, sort of thing. So,
and that's the thing.
Oh, your bar things that you made, He's done a video on these like homemade bar things, and they're like, when you eat one of them, you feel like you can pick up a double-decker bus afterwards. Like, they're just loaded. Like,
they're not a snack for the office. Trust me. You'll just eat them and just go.
I reckon you should sell them. Definitely get a business going. They were beasts, those things, and they tasted good as well.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting it. I made them last year and I put them in the oven instead. And they were just like bricks and probably lost all nutritional value. But yeah, they were super like the nuts and the protein and the chocolate. Oh, it's just. And after walking, like, what we've done, like 17 miles or something.
Yeah.
And you just eat them and it's like, boom, I'm off.
I might have a crack at it. And I thought I might add peanut butter. Do you reckon that would mix in?
Oh, yeah.
Would it mix in or would it congeal into lumps? Like, I don't know. Because peanut butter is massive for calories, isn't it?
It's really good with fats as well. So try it. Look, all I say is try it, because that's all I do with that. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. You try it again.
I'm definitely going to have a crack at that next time.
It's not difficult. All you need is like a pan and some heat. That's it. There's no cooking.
No.
Like, if I can do it.
They were amazing. But in plastic bags next time, not tin foil. Yeah, that's a tip. Tin foil, it just sort of peels off and some bits stick in your eat and you're like,
I'm still digesting some of it as well. That's why I had those eggs last week. I was like, oh no, the tin foil.
Yeah, no tin foil because it just sticks to it. Like, That's like, when you buy completely off topic, if you buy an iced bun from a baker's and then they put it in a plastic wrap, when you take it out, all the icing, which is the best bit, sticks to the plastic wrap. And you're like, no! And you're like scooping it out. It's kind of like that thing with the tin foil. So, But great energy bars. They were a lifesaver as well. So, fantastic.
But there's a tip there with packing for food, because Jamie packed for the 5 days. I had enough for 5 days. I had enough for 1 day. And it worked. And there were plenty of stalls along the way. So, like, if you do your research, you know what you're going to come across. But
I overpacked.
You overpacked for food. And also, was it the types of food that you needed? Because you said you were craving salt, but the stuff that we had probably wasn't that salty and didn't have enough of what we needed. So if we packed lighter in terms of food, then we could have stocked up on what we fancied that night and not had to have carried it around.
We gave it away, didn't we, on the last day? What did I have? About 350 grams worth of food on the last day.
I think it was 650.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's like nearly 3/4 of a kilo of food that you just carried for nothing.
Yeah.
And that makes a massive difference.
I was just worried that there weren't going to be enough shops, but again, this goes to not researching enough.
Yeah.
Because when I walked across Dartmoor a while ago, loads of shops and pubs and cafes were closed because of the COVID thing. So I was kind of worried about that. I mean, I know I can carry 5 days worth of food now, But on the last day, it was like, I've been lugging all this around, and there was tons of places, and every shop will do a pot noodle or those little noodle packet things or anything.
Super noodle type things.
Just load up on whatever, but there's always cafes now. So it comes down to research, I think, which I didn't do. I just followed Rob because he's done it before, so it's a bit lazy of me. But if you research, and you could also go on Google opening times, are they open? So same for the water source, I think.
Yes, yeah.
I took way too much water all the time. So I think next time I do a trek or something, again, it's so easy to do online with maps and stuff now. You could, if there's a stream or a river, providing you've got a water filter system, like Rob used the tablets and I used the Sawyer mini filter thing. If you know every 5 miles or so, even on a hot day, there's going to be a water source, you only need to take 1 litre. I was taking 2 litres all the time, and I always had a litre extra, which I didn't really need. But I think if you get to about where there's, say, a 10-mile stretch with no streams or rivers, then maybe take 2 litres on a hot day. And also when you camp somewhere, have 2 litres, because you cook with your food, you want a coffee or a hot chocolate or something. Also water, if you wake up in the morning, you're really thirsty, you need some water. So maybe 2 litres just before you camp. This is for me personally. But I was walking around with 2 litres all the time, and every few miles or even a couple of miles, we were coming across streams and rivers and all that. So I took too much water and too much food. So next time it's research. I'm going to check the water sources, and if there is a bit, say 10 miles with no water source, then I'll load up with 2 litres. And the camel up thing was good. We learned this cool phrase called cameling up.
Yes.
Saw it on YouTube.
Camel up.
Camel up. It sounds so cool. Right? So when you get to a water source, fill your bottles up, but also neck as much as you can through your filter system, however you do it, even if you boil the water, but that'll take ages, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Drink as much as you can so it's in you, and then fill your bottles up, or the 1 bottle up, so that way you've got some in you and so on. So I just like that phrase. We got a camel up.
Camel up. It sounds so like
pro, didn't it?
Exactly. It's not amateur at all, because we're cameling up.
We're cameling up.
And when you say that in the shops, people are like, what? What are you on about? Camel what? But that's another thing about the shops. Is like, whenever you get an opportunity to stock up on water, do. Because so for me, taking off my I don't know why I hate taking off my bag when I'm like mid-flow of walking. There's something about just getting into a rhythm and going for it. So if you find a shop and they've got bottles, especially on a hot day, bottles of cold water. Like you can just roll it on your head, just cool down back of your neck. But then you can just drink and you can when you've been walking that far, you will just drink loads. And just absolutely just down that bottle, can of Coke, that sort of thing, and it all adds to the liquids, and it's also water that you've not had to drink. So for me, doing that replaces the need for me to then, like in a half a mile or a couple of miles time, have to then take the kit off, refill it. And my platypus, so if you do get a platypus and go down that route, get one with a screw opening, that's it. Because my one, it sort of like has a ziplock at the top which you press together and you have to open it, but then when you filled it, you have to fold it over itself and put this like clamp, slide it across, and for the life of me, I don't know whether it's just because I'm not like a DIY, I'm not a creative, intelligently DIY type person, but trying to just slide it across is like one of the most difficult things on the walk. So if you get one of the ones with the screws instead, it just makes it that much simpler. But it's still a fact. You just take your bag out, you take the platypus out, do it, put the tablets in, and do it. So top up with water whenever you can, and at every opportunity, because even if you don't feel thirsty, you are thirsty. Like, you have done so much, you need to take in the that water, and it's really good for you to do that, to not wait until you're like, oh, I'm so thirsty. No, don't do that. Like, drink as often as you possibly can. If you watch these like survival programs, they say, oh, in that sort of heat you need like a litre an hour, and that's, we're taking 2 litres every sort of quarter of a day, if that. So you've got to look after yourself, and if you do, you won't get heat stroke, you won't get ill. And also check your gear before you go for best before dates. Oh my goodness. On the day one, I was really looking forward to putting the electrolyte tablets in, because they come with a flavour as well.
You were telling me all about it. I was looking forward to it.
And then I open them and they're just all congealed into one. And I got back and told my wife, and she was like, she actually came in and said, Robert, you're an idiot. She came out with a pouch that was actually brand new and was fine. And I was like, why didn't I check? So check your gear, because, something like that, I wouldn't personally have thought they would go off. I was like, well, how did they get wet? How did they congeal? Because they weren't unopened. They weren't marked or anything. But I guess that's why they have a best before date. So follow it, especially with gear you're taking with you. But yeah, those, it's just such an idiot. And walking poles, don't leave the house in a rush on the first day. I had 2 proper walking poles. They're lighter than a piece of wood. And forgot them. It's just...
That would saw you through though, that big stick.
That stick, yeah. I mean, it got me through. And that's another tip on these long hikes, because you found that, didn't you?
Yeah, the sticks. I got these carbon fibre ones from OEX on Go Outdoors. They're on sale for £30 at the moment, and they're super light. But when you've got a backpack on, what a difference! The sticks. You just feel that you can go those extra few miles, and it just helps you up the hills more. Takes a while getting used to, but after a while, it just became muscle memory. But yeah, definitely, any hikes I do from now on, I'm going to be having the sticks.
Good idea.
Just makes such. I mean, there's no way I don't think I would have done that. That last day where we did 27 miles with a rucksack on, I don't think I would have done that without the sticks, personally, because I'm not a small guy either as well.
No.
It's my ankles and knees. bit of a heifer. But yeah, the sticks made it. Just going to check that's still recording, because sometimes phones cut off after 10 minutes. Is it recording? Yeah, it's still recording.
Still recording?
That's cool.
I don't know.
The red light's flashing, so that's good. Yeah, I've done that before, and you're chatting away and then it stops recording.
Well, the amount of footage I didn't take that I took on that walk, I was like, oh no, I didn't press record.
Yeah, that platypus thing. I think if you had one of those screw cap ones instead of your fiddly faffy whatever it was, we would have finished half a day earlier.
Yeah, we probably would have done. Yeah. So we literally
I'm waiting around like, come on, and he's like, oh, it just won't go. Oh, it's so fiddly. Oh, it's like half an hour later, still, it's not quite right.
He's there with his soya menu, just like trying to get drops out.
Oh, Soya Mini. Yeah, I got the new one since I actually ordered it on Amazon while I was on the trail, because the Soya Mini is great, but when you're thirsty and you're trying to gulp big water, it trickles out. It's good. It does what it does, but the flow rate is terrible. So I ordered the Soya Micro. It's a new one. It's 10 quid more. And I've tried it at home, and it just pours out, and you can gulp it down. You can fill up bottles quicker. So don't get a Soya Mini, the little one. I should have brought it with me, but I'll do a review on it. I'm thinking of doing a YouTube channel just to review the gear I've got. Rob's more about the actual hike itself, the enthusiasm and all that, and he likes recording the area. I'm not bothered about that, but I have reviewed a lot of stuff and bought. I've got my system pretty much dialed in now, everything on my back. So I'll do some reviews just if it helps people, if they type in something like Soya Micro or the tent I've got, the bag I've got, that sort of thing. So the shirt, like that Crag Hopper shirt, which was amazing, well worth 50 quid, absolutely amazing.
But also you put it all to the test, and when you do review, this is the thing with him, when he reviews it, he's tested it, but it's all practical. It's not, oh yes, well this looks really nice in my pack. It's more like,
it's only if it's been used.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing with the Soya Mini, like, because you could get it, and for me personally, and this is where I kind of come a cropper, because I'll buy something based on the fact that I trust what is said in the description is okay. And the Soya Mini, the one that you took with you, you'd think, oh, that's perfect. It's just what I need, filters of water, and it tastes great. It tastes like filtered water. But what you don't realise is when you're walking and you're thirsty, is that sense, that human
I need to gulp
need
down
to gulp
water.
the water,
yeah,
and actually, quench that thirst. And you don't get that from an item description.
No, I'll keep that one as backup. I mean, it'll still get you out of a pinch. The other one is much better, but I'll keep that little one as backup. Definitely.
But you can tell it sounds really weird, but again, hiking channels. So these are the sorts of things that you should look out for. But just looking at the colour of your wee is a really good indicator of how hydrated you are. Yeah. And if it's a hot day, you're doing lots of miles and you're still peeing clear, that's fantastic, because it means you've got more than enough water, and you'd always want to be in that situation rather than treacle wee, banana milkshake wee.
Yeah. Right, I was confused. I was like, is that the milk? It was like one of those tin things with like vitamins and that, but it's like a banana milkshake.
Mega protein.
It was like glowing in the dark. I was like, I'm either really dehydrated or it's that milkshake that I had.
That pea's still melting its way down to Australia. It's acid wee. But yeah, judge. Listen to your body and listen to the signs, because you always want to be more hydrated than underhydrated, because that's when you get ill.
Yeah.
You know, your immune system
You had
won't
that
work.
last year, didn't you?
I had that last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of it. I mean, I thought I was drinking enough, but I clearly wasn't.
No.
But I wasn't tuned into my body, and it sounds really sort of, I don't know how it sounds. It sounds weird. Oh, listen to your body. But it's true.
Yeah.
You're like, we're talking about the food. Your body knows what food you need, what salts you need, sugars. Even when you're walking along, you see some blackberries. You know, because the time of like year for us, the blackberries, even they taste amazing.
Amazing.
Like, I've never known a berry, something, a weed, a bramble, like the scorn of this country. You know, hedges everywhere, and yet you take one and you taste the sourness, the bitterness, but the sweetness and the tartness and. It's
tartness.
A boost, you know, the whole sourness of it, yeah.
Is that what tartness means?
Is that what it means?
I don't know,
Tartness?
I've never heard of it.
Tautness? Is it taut? Is it taut? Oh no, maybe I get my words wrong.
Tartness. It sounds good though.
We're going to go with tartness.
Tartness.
It's where you eat it and it's like,
blackberries
ooh.
are tartness.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to Google that.
Maybe you shouldn't.
I'm going to Google it now.
Yeah.
You carry on talking.
Oh no, I don't know whether I got it wrong now.
If it's rude, I won't say anything.
Well, it's a new phrase, the tartness of the berries.
Tartness pungency, how about that?
Tartness of pungency, yeah. But yeah, so and I did something about the elderberries that we came across as well. Little sharp bursts of like flavour, and listening to your body, and it's what you need. So yeah, listen and don't ever think, oh, I won't take any water now. Always take on water, especially when it's hot and you're sweating.
That's kind of like the feet philosophy. You said, like, you could have the best gear on your back, best rucksack, tent, clothing, all that. If you've got rubbish shoes, or shoes that are not rubbish, but shoes that don't fit you well, if your feet get screwed, that's it. Forget all the stuff. And it's the same with whatever foods you've got, your cook system, whatever. If you're dehydrated, it means nothing. So your feet and water are the most important things. I mean, if it's winter time and you're in the Himalayas, then obviously warmth is a factor, but you know, this is England, so you know, don't really get that bad. But yeah, the main things, feet number one, and when it comes to what you take in your body, water is number one.
Absolutely.
I would say. Definitely.
Absolutely.
And then Coca-Cola and Snickers.
that's number one after food. Yeah.
I suppose I haven't had the shakes this week from like
I'm surprised you are. It's because you had to keep on working. That's why. You had to just keep going.
I haven't had one can of Coke since the trial. I must have had about 3 a day, 3 or 4 a day. I don't know. 3 a day, I reckon.
I reckon it's 3 a day.
2 to 3 a day.
But I was encouraging you because it worked for you, and that's the thing.
Got me up those hills. Got me up those hills.
And that was the main thing, just like being able to plod on because of the Coke. One thing I will say about some of the gear that I took. So the whole point of this, I don't spend much money on my gear. It's a hobby. I can't afford to be spending, £1,000 on a tent or anything like that.
You're right.
Is it?
Countable and uncountable plural tastiness. The characteristic of being tart. Sharpness or taste.
Yes!
Cinnamon, sauces, bitterness.
Yes!
Well
I
done.
got a word right in English for once.
I've learned something today. Tartness.
Yes!
That's very tart.
Very tart indeed. With my plastic container when I go blackberry picking.
Plastic.
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 Plastic, plastic. Polyethylene.
Say that when you read it.
I can't.
That beer when we got to the end.
Tasted amazing,
man. All week I was like, we'll stop at pubs and like have a big burger and chips meal. They're all closed.
Yeah.
Like everywhere didn't do that kind of thing. It was only on the last day when we got to what was it called? Lynmouth.
Yeah.
That burger and chips and a beer. Oh my! I had 2 beers actually.
I love that because we were doing a video and we were just doing a little debrief and it was getting a little bit soppy, about like bigging each other up. And then the burgers came and it was like, forget that, food is here.
Doesn't it? On one of your videos, it actually turns up while you're talking.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, just like, right, forget the soppy stuff. We're gonna move on to eating food. This is what it's been all about.
So what else did I learn? One major thing is your cap choice.
Cap, yeah.
I've actually cut it.
Have you cut it already?
I bought this quick dry cap. It was like $5.99 on Amazon. It was fine. It was absolutely fine. It was very light, and if you sweat it quick dry, I was washing it in rivers all the time and just putting it back on. That's a good tip. If you're really hot, dip your cap in the water, put it back on, and it cools your head down. That's really nice. It just dries as you go. But the peak of it is really long. It's like a flipping albatross's beak. And the idea of that is so it gives you more shade, so it protects your face from the sun, which is great. But walking along this track after like the first 3 miles, and I had my head down, so the cap is like that.
Yeah.
This massive branch, this big, and I walked straight into it. It's gone now, the scab I had on my head. but I
Yeah,
nearly
go on.
knocked myself out because I had my head down with the cap down. Like,
You
donk.
went down though, like
The rucksack saved me actually because I
Oh.
landed flat on my back. I was worried that everything in it was broken, like the tent poles, which would have been game over, like and the cook system and everything. But yeah, it just knocked me out. I didn't even get time to put my head. It didn't knock me out, but I was like,
yeah.
So yeah, what you can. So I turned it around backwards when I was walking through woods. Watch out for those branches and that. So that was a learning.
That was very much the learning.
Don't
curve.
walk into
That's
a
learning
branch.
the hard way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trees are genuinely tougher than you.
You must have thought as soon as that happened. Oh, we're only 3 miles in and we're going to hospital straight away.
I
like.
genuinely, I was worried. My first aid head went on, and I was like, okay, what happened? Like he went. It was a thud. You went down, and I was
yeah.
like, oh my days, you are going to get a concussion or
Proper,
like compression or something.
It's gone as well.
But you were fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Just
Don't do that. Is
No,
the advice.
I don't know if I got a photo of my head all scabbed up.
It
So
featured in the video.
Oh, right,
yeah,
okay,
your,
that's all
your
right.
sort of lumpy head.
Lump.
I'm surprised that didn't go gangrenous, to be honest.
probably knocked my head off actually. Yeah, it hurt. I had a bit of a headache
Yeah.
afterwards. So yeah, that's the things I learned. So I took too much food. I walked into a branch because my cap was too long. I've cut it with scissors. So watch where you walk in. I think the other thing I learned is I took that extra fleece
Oh
for
yeah.
the evenings, and it was pretty heavy. It was like I think 400 kilos, and I was just, oh, what if it gets cold? And it dawned on me during the trek, and I didn't want to throw it away because it's quite a good one I bought years ago. So I had to carry on carrying it with me. I thought, what about in the evening when we're camping if it starts getting chilly? But I had a down jacket which is really lightweight. I had my thermals which I sleep in. And also you got a sleeping bag. I just thought, why did I bring a fleece? If I'm sitting around camp, we're not going to be in posh restaurants or nothing. I thought I'd just wrap my sleeping bag around me. What an idiot. So I lugged around an extra like 400 grams for nothing, plus all the extra food for nothing. Plus I was taking an extra litre of water all the time when there was water sources. So I think I took about nearly 2 kilos extra that I didn't have to do. So it's just a learning curve, and the more you hike, just go out for day hikes to start off with, because a lot of people have got into hiking lately now.
Yeah.
So just go out for an afternoon or a morning, say 3 or 4 miles or whatever, and just you'll start learning what you do and don't need. But if you're going to start doing hiking where you're camping along the way or staying at campsites or even B&Bs, you do realise everything's a learning curve. You do realise what I didn't need to take, and I have with this hike as well. To everyone I've done, when I first started, like when you did, we were like taking these massive.
Like,
you could like
as
survive,
much as you could get in.
Yeah, survive the apocalypse. Like your cook system were like it's bigger than my oven at
Oh
home.
my
like,
days. That's what I mean by like the gear that I took is just to. Yeah, I don't spend much money because I don't want to. You don't have to spend much money as well, but there does come a point. If you get the very cheapest stuff, you actually get bitten like in the back by it. It's not good. I mean, the amount of times that I've been let down by stuff. You buy this breathable, waterproof, fancy stuff from Go Outdoors, and it's like, yeah, it's 25 quid for this amazing jacket, and it's actually, within 5 minutes of rain, you're completely soaked. The mattress thing that I've got, I think it costs like £5 or £3 or something from Go Outdoors, and it's inflatable. It's great and it's comfy. But it weighs like 2 kilos. Yeah. That weighs as much as 10 just for this little roll mat thing, and it's bulky as well. So find your sort of balance spot. See what you can afford and get the best of what you can afford. Don't skimp out. Don't be too much of a cheapskate, because I am, and I'm not going to buy the most expensive stuff. But what I had to borrow a lot of Jamie's stuff. Like the sleeping bag I borrowed packs up to about that big. My sleeping bag's fantastic, but it's about that big and it weighs 3 times as much. The tent I've got is about 3.5 kilograms. The one that I bought, how much is the one I borrowed?
1.5 kilos.
1.5 kilograms. But I have to, one of my biggest takeaways from this is about comfort. In one of my videos, I said it's not about comfort, it's about the walk, and it's about covering those miles. But actually, there's a big balance to be had, because if you're not comfortable at night, and because I had the blisters, I'm in a tent, which is like a cocoon. So it's literally, I couldn't sit up. It probably comes up to here when I'm lying down on my head. So I'm there in a cocoon like this, like a coffin almost. I'm not claustrophobic. It doesn't bother me at all. It was warm, kept me out of the wind. But I just needed to be able to sit up, be able to sort of dress my blisters, dress myself, and just sort of sit up and, I don't know, just be comfortable. And that's one thing I didn't have on the walk. And I would suggest getting a tent like Jamie's. Get something that is lightweight, because yours weighs as much as mine, and you can fit probably 3 people in that. maybe 2 people.
So,
But you know, and you've got the
so
extra.
it was like a hotel room.
It's like a hotel room, and
I
I'm just
loved
there
it.
like, I can't
it was my
move.
first time with this tent, but the thing is, I've done loads of research on it, and it's not the most expensive out there. In fact, it's a knockoff of a more expensive version, but judging by the research, it's absolutely fine. But I think that's what I love doing. I love doing the research, but it doesn't have to be that expensive. Like the rainproof jacket I've got, it's called Frog Togs. They're really they're not very durable. They'd rip easy if you walk past brambles and stuff, but it costs £21, and it's one of the best waterproof jackets you can get out there at the moment. It's breathable, it's light, it's super waterproof. Yeah. £21. You don't have to spend like £200 on a Patagonia waterproof jacket sort of thing. It's just research. You want to get a good standard of stuff, but it doesn't have to be that expensive. I use the analogy of watches, don't it? So say you need a watch that's critical to telling you the time. So are you going to buy a cheap watch from the market for £5 that will probably break or not work? Or are you going to go and buy an Omega watch or something that can go into space and 1,000 foot underwater? And do you need that? You don't really need that. But are you going to get a Seiko watch that's say £100 or something reliable where you know it's just going to work and it's that little bit more expensive than the cheap tatty rubbish? That's how I sort of see it. You want something that's reliable, so you don't have to spend a fortune. So everything on my back comes to about sort of £800. So everything I took up with the clothes and the boots. £1,000, and that's a week's holiday abroad somewhere, isn't it? You know, the flights, hotel, like going out for meals and that. But if you're going to keep consistent, do a bit of research on YouTube or Amazon reviews, and just get stuff that's going to make the experience pleasurable. Because people have got into hiking so much more since the lockdown, because we all appreciate going out more for a walk. So even if you're just going for an afternoon walk or something, that's great. Just get out there. But if you're going to get blisters, your shoulders are going to hurt because it's heavy. If everything's just going to get damp and stay damp, you're not going to enjoy getting out there. You'll just remember being uncomfortable, wet, damp, cold, whatever. So just a little bit of research, and then you'll forget. Like our rucksacks, I forgot it was on my back after a while because it's so dialed in. And it was £100 my rucksack. It's an Osprey one. It's just so comfortable and breathable. You know, the mesh thing on the back so your back doesn't get all sweaty. £100. It wasn't like, you know, £1,000 professional one that you need to go to the Himalayas with or something. But for me, it's perfect. You just get used to what you need, and it just makes the whole trip. You can just enjoy being outdoors and not worry about being damp. So the number one rule with clothes: no cotton. Don't wear cotton, because if you get sweaty or it rains or it gets damp, it stays wet, and that's it. Same with your socks. No cotton. Cotton just does not dry at all. So get quick dry stuff like nylon or anything like that. And just even cheap stuff, you can buy t-shirts from Mountain Warehouse for like £10 that are quick dry. Something like that. That's what you need. So to start off with, so just do a little bit of research. And,
it doesn't take much.
No,
it doesn't take much to do that, and prepare yourself as well for a trip like this. You're going to be on your own or with someone for, you know, in our case 5 days. It might be longer, it might be less time, whatever you're looking to do. Prepare yourself in advance. One of the things that I did it sounded a little bit weird, but when you're going to be carrying all that gear and all that weight for, you know, all that time, going up hills as well, you almost want to get the aches. This sounds weird, but the aches and the pains of the muscles out of the way first, okay? Because it's like a weight training exercise. You ever been to the gym or you've done it, you've exerted yourself, and you get an ache, you know, a couple of hours later and then the next day. Well, what I did, because I thought it's going to be the same with a big 15 to 14 kilogram pack on your back, I actually did some sort of training with my pack on. So that included press-ups. So I did 45 press-ups in a normal position, and then 45 wide press-ups. Because what that does with the pack on, what that does is it accustoms your muscles to wearing the weight, but it also allows you to kind of get the ache that you get from a post-workout before the walk, if that makes sense. So by doing that, when you get to day one, your body's already gone through that lovely achy, I've had a workout feeling. And then for the rest of your walk, your body's already accustomed to having that weight. I also did some squats with the pack on as well. So just with my legs, because obviously when you're going up hills, you're going to be using those types of muscles a lot. So again, it helped my legs to get accustomed to that weight and to get the pain and the aches away before the walk. So that's just, I mean, it works for me because I didn't get any aches along the walk or anything like that. And I think the last piece of advice that I've got is is probably more like psychological, because have you ever heard of the wall, you know, that athletes get, and they're like, I've hit it. Just keep going, because you can do it. Like, even when you think, oh, I can't do it anymore, if you just keep going, you will. Like, accept that you're in pain, accept that yes, it hurts and it's tough, but think of the challenge. Think of like what the reasons that you've done this for. You decided that you wanted to go out and do a nice long hike, whether it be a day, whether it be a week, or whatever it is. This is your challenge. So you can absolutely do it. You've just got to put your mind to it. Don't give yourself a way out, okay? Obviously have a contingency, have emergency routes if you need to, but don't have a system in your head where you think, well, if I don't make it, I can do this, I can get off this, or I can call a friend. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. If you just think about like the goal, think about why you're doing it, think of the personal achievement, think how amazing you will feel at the end of it when you have walked 120 miles, 15 miles. I've got friends who balk at the fact that I walk more than 6 miles. To some people, 6 miles is a long way. If 6 miles is a long way for you, do it, yeah? Because it doesn't matter how far it is, for you, that 6 miles is the goal, that is the challenge, okay? Doesn't matter whether it's 6 miles, 15, 20, 30. That's your personal goal, that's your personal challenge, and you can achieve it. Just, if you get pain, if you get doubts, or you second guess yourself, push through is all I can say.
And you always get that second wind, but you just have to sort of wait.
Yeah.
Because I bailed on that Dartmoor trip a while ago because if I just waited a little longer, but you always get that second wind.
Absolutely.
And then when you get it, you're buzzing from it. You just get this surge of an extra kick to keep going, sort of thing, or get through the blisters or whatever. So, failing that, Coca-Cola and Snickers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did that. I did a Dartmoor trek a while ago. I really wanted to do a 100-mile like figure of 8. I got to 50, but the night before I got hammered by the weather. I had this new tent, which I'm going to do a review on, which wasn't great. It was just wet, damp, condensation. It was awful, and I just got absolutely battered. And it was miserable. I was just walking in mist and sideways wind and rain, and then I was walking the third day, and then some friends of mine turned up in Dartmoor, and they said, "Oh, we're not far from you." So I met them, and then I saw these big black clouds come in. I was mentally drained. I'd been walking. I took the wrong route. I was just and I quit. I saw a lift home. And I took it. But if I just ploughed on, I would have got through that mental.
You'd have done it. Absolutely.
I hit the wall, and I just gave in, and I
regretted
it so much.
It wasn't because you physically couldn't do it either.
No,
you could have done it.
Could have carried
you did
on.
this walk.
But they caught me at the worst time. They were there with their car having a picnic, and so I veered off the track for about an hour and met them. And I was just like, oh, take me home.
I don't want to do it.
I did 50 miles, but I quit. And but like Rob said, just try and get through that wall. So even if it's a 2-mile walk, like my parents, they're like getting on a bit now. Well, they are getting on. But I say to my mum, just try and walk up the hill every day, to go and look at the view. It's about a mile, That it's subjective. Some people, you see these people on YouTube that are doing 40, 50 mile a day sort of things. They're crazy, but
they're good for them.
Whatever it is you can do, try and just do that little bit extra, and then get through that wall sort of thing. And it's just, there's nothing better than walking and hiking.
No.
The endorphins, and it's just so good. I mean, people love cycling and all that. I tried that a while ago, but you have to concentrate on the road and not getting run over. So people love cycling, so they get their buzz from that. But I personally love walking because you can look around, and mind you, the pace we were doing, we couldn't. So
no, we had a place to go.
You have to look at the floor a lot because there's divots in the ground, and you can trip. There's rocks, and if you're looking at the scenery, you're going to twist your ankle or break your ankle or fall over. So a lot of it was looking down because we were doing a heck of a pace. We were averaging like 25 miles a day. I think I'd like to do a hike sometime where I just do, say, 15 miles a day and stop more. Because some of those rivers we saw, I really wanted to jump in and dry, spend an hour drying off, but we just didn't have time.
But those spots exist now.
Yes.
And the towns that you can go to go back.
Yeah,
you don't have to walk the whole thing. But
so I'm going to try and do like 2 different types of hikes. Sometimes where I want to stop and smell the roses and take my time, 10, 15 miles a day or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other ones where you beast it, and it's more about getting from A to B.
That's the goal.
I think what I'm going to do, you said like to try and keep it up. From now on, because I know what we did on this hike, I'm amazed I did it actually, keeping up with you as well, especially with the rucksack. But once a month, what I'm going to do is load my rucksack up like we had on the 2 Moors Way, and I'm going to try and do like a 20, 25 miler on the coast or whatever, just to keep that topped up and beast it. Don't
lose that muscle memory.
Yeah, because my legs are like I don't want to lose what we spent a week, because the first 2 or 3 days you're aching, but by the fourth and fifth day it was flying. Like your muscles do get conditioned to it.
You
So
get used to it.
So I'm going to try and keep that up, and every now and then do a massive, like at least 20 mile up with a rucksack and my sticks to keep that consistent, because I don't want to lose that. And then the next time we do a big hike like the South Downs Way or the West Highland Way or whatever, the Wainwrights coast to coast, really want to do that.
So we'll plan that for next time.
Yeah,
we've got to do some more, obviously. So
just see what happens with lockdowns and travel. So it's really tricky at the moment.
But get out there is all I can say. I mean, it's just one of the nicest things to do. You know, a nice day, go out for a walk. We're all stuck at home to a degree, or you know, stuck around, and it's a really good opportunity to get out, get some fresh air, get away from the computer, get away from the TV. Sounds a bit old-fashioned, but I'm going to have to say it. It is refreshing to be outside in nature.
It's so good.
And get away from having something in your face all the time.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Jamie.
Yeah.
Thanks for an amazing time.
Thanks for the trip as well. I wouldn't have done it without Rob. I took the lazy option. He knew the route. I just followed him.
Yeah.
So.
That's why I had the power bank that could power a town. Phone's constantly on. But yeah, always check the map.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we did get lost a couple of times.
And if you do the 2 Moors Way, if you watch his videos and think, I'd like to have a crack at it, just all the villages are really friendly. Everyone you meet on the way, they're super friendly. They're used to hikers going in the shops and that. And yeah, it's just a great experience. I loved it and definitely want to keep it up. So
absolutely. Until next time. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, everyone.